Hey y'all, Matt, Massive Beers here. A little bit of this up in this piece, a little bit of that up in this piece, a little bit of Hop Butcher up in this piece in the form of their 60 Feet West. 60 Feet West. It sounds like an emo band from the 90s. It seemed like there was all the original emo bands were 3-word incomplete sentences, Jimmy Eat World, that kind of thing, just crappy. I don't even say emo bands, just crappy bands were just 3-word incomplete sentences. Now there are exceptions to the rule. Faith No More, Coheed and Cambria, but yeah, anyway, tangent. This is a Strata Belmont and Nectaron hopped India Pale Ale, coming at 6.7% alcohol by volume. Comes courtesy of Hop Butcher. They sent this off. They do their kind of tasting notes in the back here. It's ripe peach, dank greens, strawberry lemonade. So let's dive in this sucker. See what's going on. It's a little bit over a month old, right? 322. Today is 412. Takes me a little bit longer to get these beer reviews every now and then, so I appreciate y'all's patience. We are full bore into the massive studios out in the old she shed, so haven't been reviewing as much, but I'm in the mood for a little bit of HB. It's actually probably one of my more favoriter Jetses I've had as of late, because it's a little bit more kind of abstract. You're not going to be able to see it, but the art design on this and the way this is very, very reminiscent of that painting back there. You're not going to be able to see it, but it's the same art design, graffiti style art. My buddy Vince, it kind of reminds me of that. So there's something about this that really just kind of tickles me pink. Beer wise, it looks the part of a hazy, but it doesn't look like this big turbid, kind of super dense, ultra thick with 19 C's kind of hazy. It just has this kind of soft hazy glow to it, like old school, new school hazy IPA. You know what I mean? Heady, second fiddle, that kind of thing. So, rich orange glow. You can see through it a bit, so it's not super haze. The nose. And it kind of comes off that way. There's a malt base to it. It's just not all brewer sugar. There is this kind of nice kind of orange pithy rindiness, but there is a bittering to it, both on that rindy, pithy, zesty side of things, but also on a little bit of kind of West Coast kind of slightly resinous kind of vibes. But no punches being pulled, or whatever you want to call it here. It is fruit juiciness. It is fruit juice, fruit striped gum, fruit juicy gum, with that subtle kind of West Coasty little vibes to it, and a hefty dollop of that old school, New England, heady, second fiddle, sip of sunshine kind of thing going on in those. Let's dive in. Orange marmalade is basically what I'm trying to say. Cheers. Man, that's creepy, drinkable, almost 7%er. It has that very, very, very distinct old school, new school kind of DNA to it. A little bit more Midwest than I'd expect, which kind of makes sense being that it's Hop Butcher. So almost like you took a little bit of Two Hearted, a little bit of Chill Wave, that kind of thing, and then threw it into the mix with a little bit of second fiddle, a little bit of heady, but very much just Hop Butchery. Super old school mentality and vibe and construction. You're talking about a month old. That's not really going to affect the overall kind of impact of the beer. If anything, I think this might, not that a month's a long time, but might be a little bit of a good thing for this beer. Let's kind of have a little bit of rounded edges, not as aggressive. And this comes off as an undersweet, relatively fully attenuated, new school IPA with so much old school harkening backs to's, because that's correct phrasings, to IPAs of yesteryear. And when I say yesteryear, I really do mean only 15 years ago. But it has that kind of DNA with this new school kind of funness to it. One of my more favorite Hop Butcher hop forward beers that I've had in quite some time, because it's just so cool the way it kind of comes off in this really kind of old school kind of way, but just shines in this kind of new school kind of hoppiness, but without getting too sweet, without getting too heavy-handed, without being challenging, let's just put all the hops we possibly can in there and see what happens to it. It's very kind of what's the word? the words. It's like purposeful. You know, that's the way it kind of comes off for me. I don't think this beer is made by mistake. I think this beer is like, let's do something that is 60 feet west. It kind of makes sense. You want to think about the title, you can be like, okay, so it's a New England, but let's go a little bit touch of west, blah, blah, blah. That's what your old school New England style IPAs were. Kind of makes sense. Maybe that's what they mean by it. I don't know. Now, tasting notes they have in here. Ripe peach, sure. I didn't call it stone fruit, but I can. Dank greens, sure. Well, a little bit more resinous for me. And that strawberry lemonade, that's a weird one for me. I can see where they get there, but it's more just like that juicy fruit gummy thing. For me, that's kind of how it comes off. But regardless of what they have written on there and what it actually tastes like, it's delicious. It's one of those things where, you know, I could see New School Haze boys and Hop Thoughts loving on this. I could see them also just being like, meh, on this, because it doesn't show like a lot of super New School IPAs show. But I could see a lot of people that kind of bang or get a little bit too kind of grumpy about how New England style hazies and the whole nine kind of ruin beer in general, drinking this and going, you know what, that one is good though. That one does not suck. That's where this one kind of floats for me in a very fun way. Mount Rushmore. Yeah. For an IPA, especially being, if we were to whittle it down, yes, in general, but if we whittled it down to like kind of like something that was a bit unique, of course, Hop Butcher, yeah, kind of, I really want to put it in there. I mean, you know, Hop Butcher is probably one of the more prolific senders of beer, especially in the YouTubing community. So we tend to fire through quite a bit of these, and while there have been ones that have been quite a bit more kind of aggressive or electric or 2x4 to the face, to bring back old kind of analogies, it might be the most well-constructed IPA they've made, at least in my humble opinion. So yeah. There you go. Let's talk about it. Hop Butcher, let me know your thoughts on HB in general. Let me know your thoughts about their hazies. Let me know your thoughts about their emergence in the whole culture, because I can see Hop Butcher stuff on the shelf now. It's kind of kooky. If you've had this beer, let's talk about this one specifically. So there we go. Review in the books. A little bit of a 60 feet west Hop Butcher. Give it a whirl, especially if you like those old schools with the new schools. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the review. Hope to see you next time. Cheers, y'all.